We've got Sam from Infinite Exile on Nightbreed. How you doing, man?
Good man, yourself?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. I spoke with one of you guys back in May last year. How do you think Infinite Exile's changed since between then and now?
I think for us, like it was pretty early days. I think it was Fabian that you spoke to
Mm, yeah.
when you spoke to the first time. One of the first things we'd really gone and done. So back then we were just about to release, or maybe had just released first EP, and we were at the time we were just trying to get something out. We wanted something that people could hear. We'd go to shows, and we had two tracks out, and it was cool, and people would get into it. And I think we were just in a bit of a rush to get something in front of people. Whereas we're at the point now where we'll sit back on stuff for a few months, and we're looking more towards the end game and the long term, and putting a lot more time into planning and releases. And for us, it's just now versus then. It's just trying to really get out there a bit more and look at what does this look like in 6 months, and in 12 months what are we doing after this is at. And for us, what we've done really well this year is we've always had the next thing in the pipeline ready to go. So by the time we started this year, we released a video, we did War Is Here, and by the time that was ready to get the video out, we were sick of it, and we were nearly done with the next track already. And Subhuman was done for I think 7 months before we got it out, and coming up on that with the next single as well. We've had the video shot a while ago, and the song's been done for a while, and it's new for everyone, and I'm excited to drop it. And so I think we're 2 weeks away with that one. But we're already working on the next thing. And for us, whether that's an EP or an album, or it's all coming together pretty quickly. And before that's we'll be looking at what's next from there. So
Yeah, cool, man. So yeah, the newer stuff definitely the recording is a lot more slick sounding.
yeah.
What have you changed, do you think? Like, do you think you've just learned how to do it better, or are you using a different producer or something like that?
Still working with Gareth Hargreaves.
Hmm.
The big thing, I think everyone's attitude has changed. So around when the first EP came out, that's when I joined into the band, and it was 5 dudes and 2 guys doing most of the writing, and like we will be a thrash band, and we're only influenced by late 80s, early 90s, this handful of bands, and that's what we're trying to sound like. And I think as we've got comfortable and as we've done a bit more together, everyone's I don't want to say egos, but egos are kind of like balanced out a bit, and people are willing to try new things, and people are listening to new music, and rather than trying to write something to fit maybe a style or a genre that we were going for, now we're just writing what's coming to us, and whatever's inspiring us at the time. It's a lot more open and a lot different to what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, the third single of 2022 is coming out pretty soon, Futility.
Yeah.
What's that one all about? What's Futility about?
Futility for us is different again, because it's still working out who we are. And for us, I think our mission statement, we got asked once pretty early on, like, what would your mission statement be? And for us, I think it is to always be evolving, and to never be following a trend. So again, doing a different style of music. I don't know if have you heard the track? Did you get sent through a copy of it? Yeah. So totally different. Collaboratively, like a few of us worked on the lyrics for it. We got 3 sets of vocals going on, all kind of competing. Theme wise for the song, I know Fabian, who wrote all the instrumentals for it, he was listening to like a lot of Gus G and a lot of synthwave, a lot of elements in that song that we've not used before. And then lyrically for us, it's just we're at a point we feel like sometimes you're pushing shit uphill, and people are shaking hands to your face and knives in your back when you're the other way, and everything just feels like a struggle. And sometimes you get inside your own head, and absolutely that isn't the case, and there's no great force trying to hold anyone back, but you work that idea into your head that it's you against the world, and something's just not going your way, and there's something must be holding it back, and just the futility of everything. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, the track's quite different. You got the whole kind of flange thing going on, and the keyboard breakdowns and that sort of stuff. When you're writing, like, I don't know, do you start with the riffs and then kind of go, let's add this, let's add these bits? Like, how does all those other kind of sounding stuff come together outside of the guitar riffs?
So Fabian put this one together. I think from memory he started with again, he'd been listening to heavy synthwave stuff, so he'd been learning how to program some of the MIDI stuff and do the synth stuff on the computer, and then the riffs came over the top of that. And I think it was decided pretty early on. Like a lot of songs change heaps in the time that you're writing them, and sometimes you'll be back and forth for stuff on 3 or 4 months. I think this one came together fairly quickly, and we knew that we wanted a song that was different, was carried by that electronic sort of background. We were starting to think a lot more about how stuff comes across live as well. And when we're in the jam room or the couple of shows that we played when we're playing that song, just hearing the keyboard and the electronic stuff coming over the PA and then the band over the top of that, and it's just such a huge production live. Just sounds so good live. And we know that we wanted that to kind of carry the pace of the song, and again doing different stuff vocally for us. I think for us, the song came together and the vocals came together over the top of that, and there was a late change to the last chorus where we're like, we can't. It's just cut and paste. Like it's you're hearing the same thing for the third time, and we sent it back to Gareth, who does all the editing and the mixing for us, and he added a choir effect over the top of it. It sets it off. Didn't realize how much it was missing when added there.
Yeah, cool. You talk about playing live with like the I guess it's pre-recorded parts to kind of beef it up, right? Is the drummer playing to a click or something like that? Like how do you make that work?
So we're still kind of on a budget with this one. So what Cal does is yes, he plays to a click. He's got a click, and I believe he's got the studio MP3 of the song in his ears. So when he's playing along, he's not he's not hearing us. He's playing along to the track like if you were jamming at home with the click as well. So and then on stage we've got we just follow him in front of house. Follow we got backing tracks on most of the songs with on the earlier stuff there was samples rather than electronic stuff all the way through, but we can kind of keep time through that. Our drummer Callum, he's a machine. Everyone has stuff that they do well, but he is. I've never once in my life heard him go out of time.
Yeah, cool. Oh, well, while we're getting technical, I can see you got a little Kemper rack behind you. I've got my Kemper one over here. It's a great little beast. What if you don't mind saying, what are your go-to sounds on there? What are you using?
For quite a while, I was using the Obsidian pack. I think the Obsidian and the Gratifier heads. We feel like we need that volume on stage as well. So we play through cabs live and not front of house. Nothing against anyone that does it, and eventually, we'll get to a point of using in-ears and we'll probably run something that way. But we just having that driven, the physical feeling, that sound, even in the shittiest venues that we played, if I'm standing in front of the cab and I can feel the drums behind me, we can keep time, we know what we're doing. The Gratifier Obsidian was running that for ages, and then I believe I'm still running them, but the Wes Houck capture that he'd done with it, I think Fabian got both of us the pack for that one. Running that for 2 of the newer tracks, and it's just it's next level. So I have to go back through now and reprogram all the old stuff with the new ones, because it's just it pales in comparison. And then you listen to like what your old tones were, it's like, oh man, I can't believe I thought this was good. But Fabian's just started doing a podcast, and I know he brought it up on there. Check it out. It's Exile with Fabian Dacker. He was talking about it the other day. Like live, he might have a patch for a song, and if he's got a clean bit in the song, he'll have a second channel for that. And I'm polar opposite the other way. I'll have 4 or 5 patches set up for every song, and different levels of gate and different effects and different EQs and all sorts of stuff on every bit of every song. 2 different ways of doing it, but somehow it works out together.
Yeah, that's cool. So I've seen the video as well. That looks pretty slick too. Like technically it's like a shed with lights or something, but it actually looks a lot better than that. Like all the colors and stuff. Who put that together for you?
We worked with Elliot Charleston, who we hadn't worked with before. He's done stuff for Patient 67 and Confession. Elliot was just awesome to work with. He had an idea in his head, and we had ideas of what we wanted. He kind of brought it all together in a way that made sense. Just did an awesome edit. Great to work with. Can't recommend him enough. You'll see when the video comes out. He's just done a stellar job on it. The big thing for us is we've always done stuff properly. So we've always paid to have our music mixed properly. We've always paid like a lot of money for artwork. We've always done everything the right way because we don't want. We don't want people to be able to turn around and go, this just sounds like another local band. It's got the local band sound. Like everything has to hold up. And yeah, just the level of work and the quality of the end product that we got from Elliot is just so good. Just proud to see it. Like, sit there watching the clip over and over. It's so good to get it at, and I know that you look back on it in 10 years and it'll hold up with anything else that's coming out at the moment.
Yeah, it's funny to say about the edits. There's some really clever stuff where, like, one of you standing here and then it's somebody else, that kind of thing. It's really well done,
Yeah. Well, it wasn't stacked together. Put a lot of thought into it. It helps that Elliot's a musician himself, and just did everything incredibly. So.
Yeah, man, it's cool. So what have you been listening to at the moment outside of your own stuff? What are you listening to?
That is a really good question. I get into this phase when we're coming into writing new stuff. So for me, like my contribution these days is I'll contribute a bit lyrically as well, and I try not to listen to too much while I'm writing because I don't want to like turn around, do a demo or something, go, I've written this off from here or from there. Or last couple days, the new Conform EP, awesome. Conform here in Perth. And I think they're going that way as well. And they've always mixed in a bit of the samples and the electronic stuff. And it's been cool listening to that because it's like something to look, I don't want to say look up to. It's just a really cool way that they blended the genres together because it's still heavy. It's still got like the hip hop elements to it and the electronic stuff. And a bit of old school Bring to the Horizon maybe, but mostly podcasts for me. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, any recommendations? Any podcast recommendations, mate?
Or again, Fabian's new podcast, mostly music based. He's trying to deal mostly with people in the scene here in Perth. He's done 2 episodes so far with he's done Mark from ATF and Buried Shallow and Andrew Massey from Black Ruse.
Yeah.
And just interesting, like seeing different sides to guys that I've met in passing, but they've got a couple of hours to talk about themselves. It's like actually these are like really cool dudes.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, October 28th, the new Futility, the single comes out, and November 5th, you guys are playing Lennox Lounge, at the Heavy Prosecution show.
Yeah, heavy persecution. It's Ours, Paradise and Exile, Thunderblood, and Buried Shallow. So that's going to be a huge show. I caught Paradise and Exile for the first time last weekend, and just a phenomenal show. They just absolutely smash it. So that's going to be huge. That'll be a really good one to answer. Just a few more things to announce in the next few weeks, and that'll tie us through the end of the year.
Yeah, beautiful, man. And then, you're saying you're working towards either an EP or album. There's that sort of looking like early-ish next year, mid next year?
We were thinking early-ish next year. It'll definitely be first half next year.
Okay.
Just every time we think we're done, we go, we'll sort out one more, and suddenly it grows, and it's like, well, are we leaving tracks off the EP that already has some of the singles? I know Futility definitely will be on there for sure because that definitely fits the theme of some of the newer stuff. Mm-hmm. But every time we think we're done, like another song winds up making its way in. So I'm a big fan of EPs. For me, especially, local bands, smaller bands, even if they're really, really great guys I rate, they put on an awesome show. I find it hard sometimes to get into a full album. And when guys go and drop 45 minutes of really, really good material, that's awesome. But then they've got no content for the rest of the year, and it's getting to the point now where if we go too long between releasing singles, like even just our followers kind of drop off, our listeners on Spotify, you've got to always have content. You've got to keep it constant. You've got to have new stuff coming out all the time. So for me, I'm a fan of EPs, 4 or 5 really, really solid songs, tie everyone over for 6 months, gives you heaps of content. You can always be working and putting stuff out. You go and release an album, you might have 10 really good songs, but it's hard to push that for 2 years until you've got more content to release, or hard to push more content that's that good and enough of a time frame to stay relevant. So it's a balancing act. We're working it out as we go, and just kind of doing what we want with it. So
yeah, cool. All right, Sam, thanks for your time, man. And yeah, links below. And 28th of October, everyone can check out the new single and the new video. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, can do.
Cool.
Thanks for having me, dude.
So easy. Cheers, man. Have a good one, eh?
Yeah.
All right. See you.